Hello, Dr. Long. I'd like to share with you my experiences with Guillain Barre, what Guillain Barre is, and how I approach my recovery. Guillain Barre Syndrome is an autoimmune disease that attacks your nervous system. Your body thinks your nervous system is just like any other virus, and it treats it just like any other virus. It creates antibodies, it creates a lot of them, and they spread it throughout your whole body with your blood plasma. Most people, Guillain Barre hits overnight. It's like an overnight type deal. You're fine, and then boom, you're just hit with Guillain Barre. With me, it was more of an extended kind of progression of Guillain Barre. I started experiencing symptoms probably back in September, right about second or third, maybe fourth week into conditioning. I started to, my legs just got really weak. My glutes and my hamstrings out of nowhere just got really weak. And that didn't make sense to me because, I do a lot of necessary things. I stretch, I do yoga, I do self-myofascial release, foam rolling. I know some things and I do them regularly. It's a part of my routine. I know that helps me become a better player, so I don't skip those things. And it didn't make sense while my legs were getting weaker. So I started experiencing that. I also had a mild heart condition called pericarditis that I was kind of going through. And that's what kind of stopped me from competing and continuing to condition, is because I had this thing going on with my chest. Somehow I think all that was related. The doctors they didn't say it was, but in my mind somehow I thought, there's a correlation between the two. About October, mid-October, my feet just went numb out of nowhere. And I didn't, 22 years old. That should not be happening to me. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But first thing I thought was my socks were on too long, so I took my socks off. I thought I had my socks on for a couple of days. It cut off my circulation. Took my socks off, and no, it didn't really help. My feet were still numb. I noticed the next couple of days, my pinky and my ring finger started to also go numb. And then, another day, another day, it started to slowly kind of hit me. I went home. This is, I think, right before Halloween weekend. We got a couple days off. I went home. I wasn't feeling very good. I had a headache. I just felt like I was getting sick, but I was trying to tough it out. I went to go get a gallon of milk out the fridge late night, and it just boom, dropped out of my arm. And I was like, what the heck? What is this? So I went to try to go shoulder press the milk carton. It's not even full, by the way. It's just a half of a gallon. I went to go press half a gallon, and I couldn't press it above my head. I said, something weird is going on here. I said, this isn't right. The next morning I woke up. I was supposed to go back to school. Probably couldn't have made that 4-hour, 5-hour drive. Good thing I didn't, because I was just locking up. My body was just slowly shutting down on me. And this is when it was really hitting me. This is when I really got hit. My face went numb on this right side. You can kind of see my right eye droops a little bit. It's a little bit weaker than this eye. I think that's because I'm still recovering. I'm still trying to regain those muscles that I lost. I had them out of commission for about 5 months. So my face went numb, and then that's just, that's when I knew. I went to the ER, and then the whole process went through. It took a while to get a diagnosis, about 3 or 4 days. They kind of figured it out. Well, it's not this, it's not that. We're kind of canceling things out. We did the spinal tap. The spinal tap didn't show anything. So they kind of knew it was Guillain Barre at that point. When they knew it was Guillain Barre, I started to get plasmapheresis, which is a blood plasma transfer. Because like I said, it gets carried through your blood plasma. So what they do is they take out my plasma, they put in somebody else's plasma, they take out somebody else's plasma, and then they pump in synthetic plasma 4 more times. So there's 6 sessions of it. After that, I started to know, okay, now I'm moving in a positive direction. It's slow. I'm not just better, but now I'm able to lift my arms a little bit up. I'm able to start to use my legs, get out, go use the bathroom by myself, things like that. And of course, knowing me, I'm going head first. I'm charging into it. So I'm trying to walk on my own. I'm not trying to use the walker. I'm trying to keep my mind as in control as I can. And I'm going to contradict what I just said, but being in control is not being in control, and accepting the fact that I'm not in control, but I'm going to do my hardest. I'm going to try my hardest to just keep pushing and to keep breaking barriers and breaking plateaus and moving forward. I'm not forcing anything. I'm not rushing anything, but I'm going hard. I'm trying to beat this thing. I didn't start going to the gym and working out until probably January 5th or 6th. Now, I was doing some things around the house. Just seeing if the camera's still rolling. I was doing some things around the house. I have some dumbbells. I have some bands. And I knew I had to start with the foundations. I couldn't rush into anything. Like I said, I'm working hard as hell, as hard as I can, but I'm not forcing anything. I'm kind of just letting my body and my mind kind of get in sync, and I'm trying to figure this thing out as relaxed as I can, not getting stressed out. Because negative stress is going to slow down your progress. It really is. It's going to cause you to do things that your body doesn't naturally do. And I'm all about doing what your body naturally does. So I started with my feet. I started training my feet. I started trying to jump rope. And it's pretty pitiful. I couldn't hardly jump, do 10 rotations. My feet were so weak. My timing was off. My legs just were not connected. I couldn't really, once I picked my leg up, I lost feeling of it. I lost touch. So putting it back down on the floor was a little scary. You don't really know when it's going to hit. You don't really know how your ankle's going to be. Is my ankle going to be inverted? Am I going to sprain my ankle? Am I going to lock out with my knee straight? Am I going to tear my ACL? Am I going to hyperextend my knee? You don't know. I can't feel anything. But I still pushed it. I still tried it anyway. I kind of just didn't care at this point. That fear was kind of out the window. I was going for it. I started to jump rope. I was doing body weight squats. And I knew that if I just did limited range of motion squats, that's what I normally do for basketball, because you want to jump higher, you do a quarter squat, you do a half squat. You don't do a full range of motion squat. But I knew for flexibility's sake, for almost a dynamic stretch, I had to do full length squats. So I did full length squats all the way down to the bottom, like a resting position. When you see a baby go and pick something up, a 2-year-old, a toddler, they do a perfect squat. They crunch their toes, they sit straight down into it, and they open their hips. And that's what I tried to mimic. I tried to mimic a toddler going to pick something up. I went down, I sat in it, and I came back up. I was working on my flexibility while regaining strength. Not crazy power. I'm not over here squatting 315. I am now, but I wasn't back then. I was just doing my body weight. That's all I needed, and that's all I could handle. When I started going to the gym is when things started popping off. I don't know if it was because I was feeding off other people's energy in the gym. I don't know if it was because I was so excited I was back in the gym. But I started to really make progress. I started jumping rope. Most of my workout consisted of jumping rope because the timing, the explosion, and the rhythm of it. I wanted to regain all my rhythm and all my CNS. I wanted my central nervous system to be popping off. I wanted it to be subconscious. I'm not thinking about it, I'm just doing it. So I started doing little weird things. I started not using any weights because I didn't want to overload stress, and I didn't want to, my body wasn't ready for that. I would do mini contractions coming all the way down, all the way up. They're fast and they're explosive, but they're controlled and they're coming up. And if you do enough of them, you can do them any way. I can do a lateral raise. It doesn't matter. I can do a shoulder press. It doesn't matter if I'm staying tight and I'm holding that isometric. I'm isometric right now because I'm squeezed. But then I'm almost adding sort of a plyometric because I'm also stretching while I'm exploding. It's just a weird combination of movements. But I started doing things like that. I started foam rolling really hard. I started doing that a lot and started really learning about my body because there was more pain. There was more nerve damage, so I could feel things not the way they were intended, but in a different way. And it opened my eyes to certain things like my IT band. and to really sit down and address the problem. You can foam roll back and forth all day, that's fine. You're wasting your time. If you don't pinpoint where the little things are, this is my leg right now, okay? This is my IT band. If I don't pinpoint where the knots are and where the binding is, if I don't break up those binding spots, then this doesn't do anything. And I learned that because of Guillain Barre, because of that nerve damage. And then the rest is pretty much history. I started training my hips really hard. Once I started training my hip rotators, your hip rotators are this right here, that Michael Jackson kick. That hip rotator is responsible for your knee. Weak hips equal a weak knee. And a weak knee means you pop in an ACL, you pop in an MCL, you might end your career, you might not come back. And I'm not trying to take that chance. I'm trying to do everything the right way. I'm going slow, but I'm progressing ridiculously. Your hips and your feet. That's my main focus. And Guillain Barre showed me some things that I would have never known beforehand, because I would have continued to do the same basic things I was doing. And the basic things, there's some basic things that are great, like the jump rope, the deadlift, the power clean. Those are great things. Those are basic things. But there's more complex things. Your hip rotators, working the little muscles in your hips, your big toe. Your big toe is responsible for more athleticism than you know. That's just truth. I got the arches back in my feet. I got my legs back straight. My knees were kind of knocking together because my hips got so weak. I lost the arches in my feet, so my knees were hitting. I got my knees back straight, in line. Everything's powerful. Everything's mechanically correct. And I got some workout videos and some things that I'm going to include in this video that just kind of show what I do. I'm all about changes of levels. Basketball is a game where you shot fake. You change levels. That's how you confuse somebody. That's how you get somebody their center of gravity. You change your center of gravity, you're at an advantage. If I can change my defender's center of gravity and get him up or get him back and get him in a position where he can't move direction quickly or quick enough, then I'm in control and I'm going right around him. And that's why you see me a lot. I'll get low, I'll get high, I'll get low with changing speeds. So I'll come high and then come low, I'll come high, I'll go left, I'll go right, I'll go left, right. It's all about changes of levels and changes of speeds. Changes of speeds within those changes of levels. It's just like fighting. It's like martial arts. Your timing and your synergy with your opponent is everything. Like Bruce Lee said, if you can be water, if you can take the form of anything, then you're a dangerous man. You really are. And that's how I try to train. I try to train with fluidity. I try to train with rhythm, with timing, with explosion, and fully in control. I try to make it look super easy, and I try to be relaxed because I want it to be confident, almost cocky. I want it to be like I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, and you know I'm fully aware because you can see it on my face. That's how my training is, and I think every athlete should train that way. Train the small muscles, train the small things, work on the power, work on the squat. I still squat heavy. I'm still squatting 315 for 3. I'm still deadlifting 400 pounds. You know, I still do muscle ups and things. I don't do them quite as much. I don't overload my body. I work the small things to be able to do the big things. And that's kind of my Guillain Barre story, and that's kind of how I recovered from it.